Hey, hi, hello. It's me, TM Craze. I know I haven't uploaded much uh after the last montage or the last guide, but I've been kind of just like playing mostly Heaven Burns Red. That's kind of been taking up a lot of my time, and also I've started doing coaching, and I've had quite a kind of like some good success with two people already, possibly three or more. But hey, you know what? Like that's something that like I'm gonna talk about in like a later part of the video. So let's just kind of go over like uh changes to Karapichu, Chinese Strinova in in a new test server. And this is pretty massive because it changes quite a lot about how the game plays. And if a lot of these changes stick, since this is still on a test server, you're gonna be overall seeing a more what is it, slower time to kill game that just kind of like rewards more what is it, more tactical use of the abilities rather than just kind of like flimsily using the abilities we have right now. I have my own kind of thoughts about that where I'd rather have it be more gunfight oriented and have like a moderately higher time to kill, but that's just me, and I'm not a developer for this game, right? So whatever reservations I have about the changes, I still kind of like play this game, kind of coach for this game, so I need to just take it in stride. So in a previous take of this, I kind of went line by line, but I think what I'll do here, I'll just kind of like go over, the general bullet points that we have here and kind of give my own kind of general thoughts about these points. So for one, the universal changes. You have stuff like the base HP being increased from 100 to 150, armor having now base regen of 2, light shields being nerfed by 20 points, heavy shields being nerfed by 25 points, base paper damage reduction getting nerfed by around 7%, and the paper damage reduction upgrade getting nerfed by 5%. Temporary shields kind of now decay at a what is it, fixed rate, and decay only 1 second after receiving a temporary shield. Grenades got some changes, and the bigger one here, if the what is it, the HP and shield changes weren't already big enough as is that when you shoot somebody, they're not gonna have like a mini slow effect like they used to like they have right now. So to kind of go over it, since you've kind of seen these changes here, this whole line of text right here, what this kind of just plays into is that you're going to have more, I think, health overall, and going into Stringify won't save you as much as it did in the past, because especially this part here, if you take um the paper damage reduction upgrade now, instead of having 65% like it was in the like it is right now, in the future you're gonna have only 53%, which is quite a huge change from the previous values, right? And so if you're kind of cheesing fights by going to paper a lot and just kind of making a mockery of your opponents, then that's not going to be as effective anymore because you only have like so much effectiveness before you just kind of, you know, eat shit and die. Right? So, that's kind of like my thoughts on it. Again, I don't personally like the fact that what is it? We're leaning to more towards a more like slow time to kill, more in line with like hero shooters like Overwatch, Marvel Rival, stuff like that. But again, I'm just a player. I'm not a developer, so it is what it is. The upgrade network changes. This is kind of like smoothing out a lot of kind of inconsistencies with the upgrades and kind of like buffing some of them. So we'll see here that the base damage and base fire rate increases used to have like a 4 to 10% increase. Now it's just a flat 5% increase, which is literally just the average. Well, the average would be around like 6, 7%, but they went with the lower amount just because they don't want to across the board like buff these too hard. So I understand it, right? I'm pretty sure this got nerfed because this is the weapon spread reduction for shotguns, and it's less now. So overall, you're getting like less effectiveness on this upgrade, but I think for both Ica and Bimo, you're getting base spread increases anyways. I'll talk about these two in a bit. These are way more impactful, but sprint sprint speed gets changed to overall movement speed, which is like really nice, and it's got a 3% increase now, so that's kind of impactful. And ADS speed also gets a 2.5 increase, also affecting weapon holster speed. So you'll see this kind of actually come up a bit, especially when it comes to snipers, because this actually does make taking the ADS speed upgrade more viable for them, because they'll be able to swap to their secondary faster, which also kind of makes it more threatening because, you know, if you've seen a player like the likes of Takina, you know, they'll snipe and then they'll just swap to their deagle and then just kind of dome you even faster now, like compared to before. So talking about recoil control and reload speed increases here, getting buffed by 5% and 10% respectively. This across the board will make guns easier to control because, you know, 5% may not seem like a lot, but when you take it into the whole picture of like having like 30% less recoil to deal with on Ming's AK, you know, that means a whole lot, right? It's the same thing with having 30% less recoil to deal with on Reichi's DMR. This means that the barrier to entry for these characters is like significantly less, and it means that, you know, hopefully, we'll see more Mings, we'll see more Lawins, we'll see a lot more of those, because currently in Strinova right now, you don't see enough of like the characters that you really need to make attacking or defense work, and it's really annoying to see it to see and kind of like play. It's like, oh, it's just awful. Reload speed is an interesting one because it makes it way more viable now, and you know, it might be like a compelling option for you instead of taking, you know, sprint speed or recoil control or something like that, because 40%, like that does mean a lot. Like if you're spamming your gun and you're kind of just like, you know, like firing bullets willy-nilly, this is gonna come up more often than not. If you're kind of more conservative with your shots and stuff, or, you know, don't really reload too often, like this isn't gonna super matter. But, you know, this does make reload speed more impactful, and it again more compelling as an option to pick. Sorry for the graveliness, kind of uh coughing. I don't know what's going on with my voice, so that's just kind of how it is. Ming overall gets a damage nerf, a recoil, a fire rate increase, and her armor steal, what is it, is only 10% effective against constructs. This overall means that even though Ming got a fire rate increase, overall she's going to be outputting less damage, like for that fire rate increase, and she's not going to be able to cheese super hard against like interceptors, Yvette's bear, Michelle's turrets, all those kind of stuff, right? On Tsubayamo here, we can see he's got a fire rate increase, he's got a base pellet count increase, and overall weapon spread reduced by 5%. This is kind of what I meant by this one, where the weapon spread for shotguns got nerfed, the upgrade, because the 5% went back into the base character instead, so it kind of cancels out, right? I can't really talk about this one, CD refund on Q per pellet. Like, I don't play Bimo, so don't ask me. And what I will say, okay, my voice is kind of cleared up now. It's not super gravelly. What I will say though is that this one though, the what is it? Negative 10 damage required to proc. Basically meaning like you take 10 less damage to to procure the Q reset. That is pretty good, and it does meet. And I'm pretty sure. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Sorry for the stutters and stuff, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a lot better than taking the duration increase of 0.5 seconds. Because uh popping, like lowering the threshold to activate Q and popping it quicker, that's a lot better than having, the duration increased by only half a second. That's what I think. You can tell me in the comments below, BIMO players, what you think about it. This is the one that Kyrus was kind of rallying like against, and I really get it. I really do get it because it just kind of makes no sense. Because now this really is just kind of like a worse version of Ming's AK, and 700 fire rate isn't gonna change it. Like, it kind of like Galatea's already such a clunky character to play as is. Seeing this now, having Galatea be less effective in gunfights, whereas you kind of have to kind of lean more into like an assassination thing, like in a MOBA. That's rough. That's not good. That's I feel bad for Kyrus. I'm just gonna say that. I feel bad for him. I feel bad. Leona. They don't give any numbers for this, but hey, look, primary weapon spread improved. I don't know what the fuck that means, but hey, look, it's there. None of this makes sense to me. Active ability recovery duration increased. Oh, okay, so max stats 8 to 10, cooldown 45-30, energy cost 25-20. So overall, Leon's gonna be able to build more and also use it more often because 45-second cooldown is kind of rough. What is it? And then yeah, this is a good upgrade here for the Q, I think, where it's speed of recovery plus 100% or energy regeneration plus 50%. Both can come up. It's kind of on you to choose which one you want. These got nerfs here. Block base HP got a buff. Cooldown got a nerf. I don't play Leona. I don't really like Leona. I can't tell you how impactful this is. I'm kind of on the fence about it. You guys can tell me below if you think this Leona change means anything. I just don't think so. I don't know so. Yvette, this one's kind of, I don't know. This one's a weird one. It's a buff. It's a nice quality of life change, but I don't think it'll do much to help Yvette's viability in tournament play or ranked play, just because of how clunky she is and just kind of how like there's a high barrier to entry, and even though those great at Yvette like still struggle to play Yvette like really well. She's got a great gun. She's got like great debuffs, but holy hell, is it like a pain in the ass to kind of like manage going between Faye and Yvette, right? So these two, Madalena and Raichi, this is kind of scary. this is I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty scary, right? So overall, Madalena got a damage buff, but her headshot multiplier, what is it? Got decreased from 2.15 to 2.0. I'm pretty sure that this still allows a 2-tap. If somebody wants to do the quick calculations down below in the comments, you're free to do that. But like, I only see this as a buff for people who play Madalena like myself, and it's really confusing because Madalena, like, sure, she doesn't see a lot of attack on, I mean, a lot of picks on attack, but that's kind of not the point of her, right? Like, you pick her on defense and you make the attackers' lives a living hell, right? So seeing her damage get increased, like kind of overall, despite the headshot multiplier nerf, I don't know. That I don't know how to feel about that. That feels kind of disgusting. Reichi's is kind of more balanced in a sense. Well, no, it is balanced because his overall headshot got drastically reduced. He basically can't one shot during the no armor during the first round. You can see here -21 across the board for the headshot for the headshot damage, and even worse, his headshot multiplier got decreased down to 2.0 like Madalena. So overall, Richie won't see as much lethality as before, but also at the same time, it kind of helps alleviate some of the nonsense that Richie was kind of doing, where you could kind of just spam paper and just kind of spam left click and kind of luck out on a 180 headshot and just instantly turn the fight, which was really frustrating and just kind of, I think a lot of people could kind of tell you, kind of bullshit, right? So as sad as it is to see the 180 go, for the longevity of the game, like the health of the game, it did have to go, right? I think the bigger win here is that the base magazine size got increased to 10 bullets, so that means that like you're not running out of bullets in your gunfights, and so you can actually still kind of fight close quarters. Because if there was kind of like one complaint I had about Reichi, is that like his damage was too high, and like he couldn't really fight close quarters, which was kind of like the entire point. But like even during like prolonged like mid-range long range fights, like he just kind of didn't have the bullets to fight it until he got the magazine size upgrade. And they're trying to kind of push Reichi players away from the magazine size upgrade and to picking the other one. I can't remember what it is because I always pick magazine size upgrade, but this is a step in the right direction. You can kind of say your salutes to the 180 though, because that meme is dead now. That meme is fucking dead. And then lastly, we have the ultimate adjustments. So we actually have what is it? Ultimate cost reductions across the board here, where Ming, Lawing, Mara, Fuchsia, Economy, and Baimo all get their oaths reduced to 6 cost. And then Michelle, Nobu, Madalena, Meredith, Audrey, Leona, Yugiri, Xingwei, Celestia, Coconut, and Reichi all get their oath costs reduced down to 7 cost. Which, even though the overall state of the game is the overall time to kill of the game is lower, you're going to be seeing more ults in the game as you play. And that, I guess that's kind of like a nice balancing factor, is that like you'll have more of those cool moments where you'll kind of just like user ult stuff will happen, and like you'll get to do more of those cool stuff, right? You'll kind of like have that Valorant moment where stuff just kind of flies, and what is it? You kind of don't know what's going on. It's not. I don't really like that. It's kind of heading more towards Valorant, Overwatch kind of thing, but this is a game I really like. I'm not gonna complain too hard about it because, I'd be kind of a hypocrite if I was like, railing against this game while still playing it, right? So, that's kind of like my whole thing about it. But yeah, that's kind of all the stuff that kind of pertains to the main demolition mode right now. You can kind of see at the bottom here, you have, this stuff for the superstring demolition and payload, but again, doesn't really like affect normal demolition, even though they're trying to shift more of the game over to the superstring demolition. But that's taking time. So right now, as it stands, that's all the stuff that that pertains to that. And yeah, that's kind of it. And I'd like to kind of get your thoughts on what you think about all of these changes, because these are all sort of like lesser known changes that kind of came in with with Mara's release on the test server. And I think these are equally as as impactful as Mara's whole release in general. I've actually never haven't seen gameplay of Mara's, and I kind of want to stay in the dark on Mara, like at least video wise, until I actually get to play her, at least in the Chinese server, or maybe Strinova if she comes out simultaneously with them. But um, so you guys can tell me in the comments like what you think of Mara as well. There's gonna be I hope there's gonna be a lot of interaction with this because it's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe this is kind of sloppy, right? I'm not gonna put too much editing into this. This is all one take, and I think I've kind of given my thoughts succinctly here. But yeah, let me know what you thought of these changes, and what your kind of like reaction to them is. As for that little thing I kind of said at the start about me going into it, I do coaching now, and I've actually had a pretty good time doing coaching. And I've actually already found like a lot of success with my coaching. I brought up Takina earlier, and actually I coached him, and now he's kind of made it to super string, which is one rank below singularity, which is pretty neato actually. Again, you can do a counter for how many repetitive words I say. I don't really care. I have autism. I whatever, limited vocabulary, stuttering, all that stuff. And I would like to kind of like expand that, get more people to coach, kind of build up this list, build up this rep so that I can kind of like start charging overall. Now, as scary as that sounds, it's not gonna be your typical pricing structure you see from other coaches and stuff like that. And for the most part, I will be trying to upload all of the coaching sessions I do with people onto YouTube, or at least like tidbits on this channel. I have a second channel for the VODs there, but I kind of operate under this philosophy of like, I want this information to be available to everybody. And I if I was in your shoes, because I'm not too good of a player myself, but like I've built up a lot of this stuff over time. Like if I had these resources, I would be pretty happy to have them as somebody who's trying to like improve and get better at Strinova, Counter-Strike, whatever, right? I'm trying to make it as general as possible, trying to not reinvent the wheel, stuff like that, not add like fluff or anything. And so kind of like what I've kind of solidified myself on is just a flat $15 payment for either like 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 month. It doesn't really matter. Just $15 flat. You do the thing, and that's it. If you want to book repeat stuff, you don't have to pay an additional time. That's on you if you want to do that, but that's kind of like how my pricing structure is, because I do find it kind of sleazy that some of the coaching is like that. I'm not particularly saying that the coaches, what is it, are like I'm not particularly saying that the coaches are like bad at their jobs or anything. I'm just saying that as somebody who would have wanted to receive coaching, I kind of got turned off from those just because of like how the pricing structure was, and just kind of how like obfuscate all the all the information is, right? So that's kind of my thoughts, and that's kind of like this section of the video. I understand that this video is already going on for almost 30 minutes, but this is like the most succinct way I could possibly make this type of video all in one take without kind of missing details, all that stuff. So that's it, right? If, you know, if you like the slop, hey, like and subscribe for engagement, for algorithm, stuff like that. If you don't, if you hate me, whatever, dislike, but you probably won't leave a comment, but either way, it is kind of your choice on how you feel about me. And that's not going to stop you from either already disliking me or already liking me. Right, so yeah, that's everything. I plan to upload some coaching highlights onto the channel soon, but I just had to cut those down and get some of the more like intelligible bits there. So, stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys later.